Let's start from deep inhale and long deep exhale. And relax all muscles in the body, so all tensions fall away and all resistances of the mind to meet together today fall away as well. So we can meet in very quiet space of no opinions and just investigate together our next subject. So today I thought we will explore this question that I'm asked very often by people who just touched the awakening, just touched this seeing beyond duality, and they want to withdraw from the world. Sometimes I hear this world is overwhelming to me. It's mad, it's insane world. I can't stand it. I can't stand being in it. It's very, very common reaction at the beginning of the process before full integration happened. So I would love to explore together this, because a lot of people feel in it, it seems. Especially right now when there's so many different conflicting situations arise and present themselves. People feel overwhelmed. But let's look together at this resentment that you might be feeling towards the world. So first of all, the world is not out there. The world does not objectively exist externally, outside of you. The mind contained the world, it creates the world, it contains the world. So you cannot really resent that which your mind creates in the first place. You can only resent that which you perceive to be separate from you. But look from non-divisive standpoint. The world is not separate from you. The world is your creation. What do I mean by that? I don't mean that your hands created buildings that you see, that you planted the trees that you see, but your mind planted perception of everything you see. So if you see the world that is unfriendly, unsafe, it's because you look at it from that particular angle. And this truth that you perceive is very partial, because it's looked at from a particular standpoint, from a singular standpoint. When I look at the world, I see nothing but beauty. Even when events are challenging, conflicts between people, groups of people arise, even violence. When you look at it from very united standpoint, very holistic standpoint, you see balance even in that. Even in the chaos you see balance, you see harmony of some sort. It's like an orchestra where everything takes place on its own accord. There can be song that is played that is very soothing, and then one that is violent, passionate, aggressive. So you feel the different notes executed by different instruments. So perception is critical to take into consideration when you look at the world. It doesn't mean that what I see as events are different from what you see, but perception of it is different if I see beauty or if I see it as a mad world. For example, look in the mirror, and I mean literally look in the mirror. You might see wrinkles on your face. if you're like me, after 40. And you might see, oh my God, it's so ugly. Or you might look at the same face and see the wisdom in those wrinkles and see beauty of it. So you see the same things, but with different eyes. The same with the perception of the world around you. And it's not around you, it's within you. Within you, the world is your baby. The world as you perceive it is your baby. So you can't resent that which is not outside of you. You can only resent it when there is subject-object relating to something. And resentment goes like this: I am better than this. This goes against my preferences. This done wrong onto me, and there is some element of victimization in this. Or the world done wrong onto me. But it's not the world that done wrong onto you, it's your thoughts. Because the way how you perceive the world, it's a compilation of thought structures that you nurtured with time as a result of your conditioning, reaction to certain events of the past, perceived past. So if I look at the world and see beauty, it's because I transcended that subject-object relating with it, and I am one with it. It's not that I united with it, that I merged with it. It's just I never was separate from it in any way. I never was separate from it. So I can't resent that of which I'm part. There is nobody who can resent that which I'm part of. Do you see that? How you can resent yourself unless there are aspects of you look at yourself, different aspects. If you're not divided in any way, there is no subject-object relating within you for you to resent yourself. You might be observer looking at some aspects of yourself, and then there is division of perception, and then can be resentment. But if it's one who is looking is the one who is looked at. Do you see? You cannot resent that. There's no way. So the only way you can resent the world if you separate yourself from the world. And this is simply error of perception, because you are never separate from the world. And it's not just that you're part of it really, it's because the world is within your mind. Or rather, both the world and idea of you, both are within one mind. So let's go back to that one mind and talk about that. Because you, as what you call yourself by name, I'm Olga, I'm Joe, it's just an idea of you, it's not you. When you step behind that and you look at it, and then behind that again, layer back to look at that which is looking, that's where you can say, I am, I exist, this is I. And then you see yourself as you perceive yourself to be, this limited entity. You see that to be separate from the world, which is another limited, larger entity. And there you can play with the game of resentment. But you cannot feel resentful towards anything at all, no matter how large and seemingly overwhelming it is, like the world. If you are at the level of pure consciousness, if you look at everything from the place of pure awareness, so the world that you feel that you resent arises within one consciousness. and you too, as the concept of you, arise within this consciousness. So both the world that feels external to you and you that feels internal to you, even though it is external to you as well as a thought, because thoughts are external. They are objects. You can look at thoughts. That's why mindfulness and meditative practices are so important, because you can look at thoughts and suddenly you see, oh, they are objects really. So if you're resentful towards the world, if you want to withdraw from the world, if you judge the world, it's because you've forgotten who you are and you identify yourself with a person, with a limited entity that is really a mental construct that is defined by certain attributes, personality characteristics, past, future projections, emotions, so on and so forth. But none of it is really you, because that is ever changing, it's always changing, it's not constant. What is you, the only way you can say I am, I, if there is something constant to it. Otherwise, what are you pointing to when you say I? The body, physical body changes with time, emotions always change, thoughts always change. So what are you then? What is that constant that you say I? So drop the transient perceptions of yourself and go before all of them took place. Go to that place, space, feeling, state before all that arises. Step back right now. Just step back away from that perception of yourself. Step back. Keep walking. Imagine yourself walking away from it. And as far as you can, when you become nothing for a moment, yet it's not nothing, it's more like everything. So that's why integration is so important, because at first, when we experience awakening at very first time, it feels like emptiness very often. That's why a lot of people who just experience this touch of awakening, they go into depressive state. They fall into sadness, into disillusionment, into detachment. They disappointed. They expected something more vibrant because we were promised bliss. And instead we see that because emptiness feels empty. But after the process of integration, we can discover that it's not empty. Everything is in it. It's everythingness versus emptiness. It's empty of content from one standpoint, but it's full of life. Everything is alive, vibrant. It's very living organism. But even the word organism is really just a pointer. It's attributeless everythingness. So if you resent the world, then drop in and ask yourself, okay, I'm obviously right now taken over by an error of perception. I perceive the world by an error. To see insane world, it's to come from the place of error. I'm mistaken right now when I look at the world. So who is that looker? Who is looking with this perceptual error? Find that person. Well, it's not going to be person who you find, but find who is looking at the world that it chooses to resent then as a separate entity from itself. Drop into that who, or what rather, and empty yourself from all the content about the world, the thoughts as a content. All of it, empty it out. and just see it without any judgment, any categorization. Don't compartmentalize it. Don't put it on shelves, in the boxes. Don't perceive anything separate from anything. Don't perceive separate events. There is no such thing as separate events. Everything exists simultaneously, at the same time, without any priorities of importance. Everything exists simultaneously. It's just one big orchestra. Whether in the moment one instrument feels like a leading instrument and other supporting, it doesn't matter. A minute from now, it's not violin leading any longer, but saxophone or something. Right? So look at it from eagle point of view. And suddenly you will appreciate contrasts, all the polarities that exist simultaneously. You could not see peace and enjoy peace if you wouldn't see that which is opposite to peace in the world, whether it's violence or aggression or whatever forms disharmony might take as it seems. Yet there is harmony, unseen harmony in all that. It's harmony that is hidden from the judging eye, from the eye that looks at the world with judgments and looks at itself, at you, perceived you with judgments, because it divides itself. Let's take inhale and exhale. So embrace the world, and to embrace it, come back to remembering that you created it, and you resent that which you created. In your mind, you created a world that is unsafe, insane, ugly world. And now, change the perspective. Look at what is beautiful in this world. Find everything that is beautiful about it, and find everything that is seen and felt as harmonious. Find joy. Look at it and see what the joy is. Go in the park. Look, young mom plays with the baby. Dogs play with each other. So much love, you will see so much love. And instead, you put magnifying glass on maybe something you see in the news. And then you keep watching or reading news, and all you see is the ugly, scary world. Forgetting that you can move your magnifying glass and see polarities as well. And then put away magnifying glass altogether, don't magnify. See it simultaneously, all at once, and you will see this stunning dance of polarities, gorgeous, gorgeous dance of contrasts. You can't resent the beauty then, and you can't resent that which you will know. Every cell of your body will know that you created it. How can you resent that which you created consciously? Because you're aware, so there is consciousness in the creative process. And on the level of human interaction with reality, on the level of Olga and Joe, look at your body. Get embodied now, because you will live in this world embodied. You can't really live on the level of pure consciousness that has no attributes. You live as Joe, as Olga. Yet you can always come back to knowing, to that sense of knowing that you're not it, yet you act as if. So to act as if, you need to get fully embodied again. So feel where in your body you can feel that resentment. Usually it will be your solar plexus. And sometimes your heart feels very closed. So bring the opposite to your sensation. Soften it. Warm it up if your sensation feels cold to you. If it feels dark, bring some light into it. Visually bring light. Neutralize that which you feel as resentment. Move around a little bit, soften it up. Soften your belly. Soften the tension that you might feel between your eyes and your forehead. Soften all your body. Drop all your resistances to pure seeing, to accepting, to embracing. Drop it all. Let it go. And now look at the world again. And if you don't look at it with your old eyes full of resentment and separation, look at it and see how friendly it is. No matter what arises, what's in front of you as an event, seemingly finite event, look at it from the eagle view. Feel it as byproduct of your conscious creation, a product of your creativity. Look at it as gorgeous canvas of creation, where everything is possible, everything can find its artistic expression. The world in which everything is possible, every expression of creativity is possible. Every emotion is possible. Every form of interaction between objects is possible. People, animals, any creatures. Any thought forms are possible. Everything is possible. Everything takes place. Everything has a right to exist. Find within you that place where you can feel appreciation for everything altogether. Not this versus this. Drop all your preferences and just see everything all together, simultaneously. How beautiful. The world is so beautiful. If we step back, if we step out of that which perceives itself to be separate from the world. And if you resent it, it's because that's how your creation looks. Create differently. If you don't like what you created, create differently. If you see an ugly world, create a different one in your mind. From all the same elements, you don't need to change elements necessarily. The elements can be the same. Reconfigure everything so you can see it differently. Yet, on the practical level, yes, if something you feel needs to be changed, and you have power to change it, you have talents, gifts, skills to change it, go and change it, but not from the place of resentment. Nothing good ever happened when we act from the place of resentment. Act from the place of love, compassion. That's where true change happens. That's how true change happens. Not from the place of divisiveness, divisive mind. Not from the place of resentment, anger, judgment, but come to it from the place of love. And then the impact of your actions will be much more significant, and execution will be much smoother, easier. You will be supported more by the environment. So whether you choose to act or choose to just stay where you are and simply co-create the world of beauty by your very presence of love and wisdom, no matter what the choice is, the first place to start with is to see the world of beauty. No matter what is happening in it, find the harmony in that, in the dance of all opposites, all polarities, and everything that your mind perceives as wrong. That's it for today. If you have any questions, you know where to find me. I'm sending you love, compassion, wisdom, and I will see you soon again.